Alright, and it's your boy iDef, and I'm back with another review for you guys, and this time we got the MAFEX William Billy Butcher from the boys. He's number 154. Got a cool image of him with a cattle prod on that side. Then over here you got a little pose with him in the Barrett 50 cal. I assume that's what it is. Oh, I didn't even notice he came with a curl bar. That's cool. But yeah, just nothing too crazy with the poses, but just kind of shows you what you're getting in there. And then you got your little kind of a proof of authenticity sticker. And then I don't know if they started doing it with them yet, but there might be a little thing in there to essentially it shows you if it's a real or not. But I guess we'll see. Let's go ahead and run them through the old iDef system. Is the figure in good shape? Does the figure function as intended? Everything that's included with the figure, plus scaling, and then just my final thoughts. Usually a little pose at the end when I'm talking about it too, unless I forget. Alright, and here he is at a package, and is the figure in good shape? I can't find any paint flaws with him or anything like that. I will say, however, and they hold up fine, but a lot of his joints were actually pretty loose as compared to my, The Dark Knight Rises Batman, where some of his joints were pretty tight. Most of the joints on him are pretty loose, but not to an extent where it's detrimental. However, I will say the toe articulation was super, super tight, and I should not have pushed. I should have just got like a blow dryer and heated up, but I kind of just wiggled until they went. But when they gave, I thought I had broken both of them. Like, it's funny because the same exact thing happened with both of them, and I thought I broke both of them. But no, they just were really, really tight. Outside that, though, he's in damn good shape. But does he function as intended? So, usually we do the head first. I just want to show you this real quickly. I thought this jacket would hinder his articulation a lot more. I think that's as far as his bend goes, but I do think just for the video, I'm going to take off the jacket just so you can also get a better sense of the articulation of what's going on with it. But it really does not hinder his articulation as far as I can tell. Oh, we're doing this on camera together. You're going to see how this goes, because I haven't tried to take this off yet, so I'm kind of scared. Oh boy. Oh boy. Maybe up and over the head would have been the move. Yeah, hold on. I'll be back. Sorry about that, y'all. I just didn't want to spend too much time on camera trying to figure that out. But if you do go to take his jacket off, I'm going to recommend putting his arms up and then very gently pull up the sleeves. Oh, what? Okay, no, I'm good. I thought my nose was bleeding for a second. I was like, oh, damn. Might be getting sick. Either way. So, yeah, go up with the arms if you're going to do that, because I feel like a lot of times you would go back like that. I don't think that's necessarily the move with him. But, yeah, so here he is out of his jacket, and his shoulders are a little bit gappy. But again, while he is intended to have the jacket off, I think it's more intended to have it on, so it's supposed to be hidden. But yeah, as you can see, that arm articulation is essentially the same with the jacket off, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, let's start with his head. I mean, if we're getting really like into it, he can't really look up. You can bend his torso back if you want him to look up, but he really can't look up, which seems, from what I can tell, it seems like a common theme with MAFEX. He can look down really far, though. Like, if you want to brood, like, oh, I wish I'd done that before I took the jacket off. But if you want, like, a cool brooding pose, like, he could do that for sure. He just cannot look up. But he does get, I would say it's a very good realistic head tilt. Like, it doesn't really need to go too much farther than, obviously, you can go left and right. The head almost kind of stops itself from going too much further. Like, you could push it if you really wanted to, but you don't really need to. But yeah, I'm not mad at it. I would like him to look up, like, kind of a, like, you know, look it up like Spiting Homelander type thing, but it's whatever. He does get a T-pose. He does have a little, I don't know if, I'm starting to learn, I don't know if that's technically a butterfly joint, but he has some sort of shoulder joint. I'm still going to just call it a butterfly joint, but you almost kind of like a Revoltech, kind of has that drop down shoulder joint. You can get his arms pretty close together, which is, I mean, I don't feel like you really need that for Billy Butcher all that bad, but it's cool to have it nonetheless. It's really tight, but he does have a bicep swivel, and that's hidden by the sleeve. Then you already saw the you gotta bend the lower part down first, and then do the upper arm to get the full bend out of it. Just so you guys know. And then let's see. Yeah, he does have a rotating, so he has a ball joint in his wrist, which that's good. Another thing I noticed, it seems like MAFEX's hands are usually pretty loose, but I'm sure they tighten up after you have them off the tree or whatever, or if you take them off a peg. But I don't know why I thought his ab articulation was going to be like completely useless, but hold on. I just move the waist, so just the top part of it, not bad. And then if you add like the actual waist articulation, like I think it's pretty good. Like he's not a super acrobatic character and everything. And then, so that's about how far it goes back. And then if you add that's the legs too. My bad. Yeah, he gets a decent amount back too, which again, that feels right. I'm not complaining about it. Like if this were a Spider-Man, I would be salty about the articulation, but it's Billy Butcher. So far, I think it's perfect for his character. And I personally do take that in consideration with the articulation on a figure. But he does have a waist swivel. The upper part does. I would not push it back here. It doesn't really seem like it wants to go any further, but you do get a little bit up there. And then he kicks about that high. But if you use the drop down, am I using the drop down? So essentially, if you start kicking, his leg will automatically drop down anyways, and you're gonna get to about a 90 degree, not perfectly, but again, I'm really not complaining. I don't know if I've ever seen him kick in the show anyways, to be honest, but it doesn't get a great split. But again, I don't know if Billy Butcher's gonna be doing any splits, so honestly, I think his articulation is pretty spot on for the character, if that's what they were going for. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing, to be honest. Now, I will say, that could be better. He could have a better knee joint. And I did fidget with a little bit to see if maybe you have to bend a certain way. I think that's as much as you're getting on it. Which is not great, but it could be worse. It really could. What are you doing, Billy? Alright, so his feet cannot point down very far either. He gets a decent amount up, but going back, they just don't really do much. And he gets a little bit of pivot. I think these are on a ball joint instead of like a regular ankle joint. They're essentially like almost like NECA Predators do it, except this is at least a little bit better. And then he gets a toe pivot, which is a little bit jarring, like the way it breaks up. But once you get him into poses and like you're not going to be focused on the toes, it's not terrible. I will say overall, I'm pretty pleased with his articulation. Some people I think would probably be a little bit upset that it's not better, and I get that too. I really do. For me personally, it works just fine. But so yeah, I would say he functions as intended. Let's get into his everything that's included. So we'll start with his hands. He gets just kind of a pair of relaxed hands. You know, it's a good thing to have. And then you get these. These are specific for something, and I'll show you that in a second. He gets specific for holding his gun. This hand is not soft. Neither of them are. They're pretty tough. So I'm actually going to show you this before you get to the last of the hands. If the handle of the gun you're trying to put in his hand is not pretty similar to this, like size-wise, I wouldn't try to put it in there. Like, bar none, I would not do it. Like, you'll probably mess up the hand. Even so, I think they purposely didn't paint this so you don't get a bunch of paint rub, but I'm sure the inside of this hand will get some paint rub if you put it in and out of there a lot. And then you have some gripping hands for his crowbar and his I think it's a cattle prod. You could probably use this for some other stuff, but again, these hands are pretty tough, so I wouldn't try putting anything bigger than the hands. Like, maybe you could soften them up and make them bigger, but then again, you're gonna have to reshape them to get it to fit again. But they're nice to have. So I did already just show you this, but it's like a 50 cal sniper rifle. Not much paint on it, but they did paint the scope, which is pretty cool. And you know, I kind of like the fact that it's supposed to be matte black. I could almost use like a little bit of wash just to like bring out some detail, but I do like the whole black look. And then you got Jason Todd's worst enemy, the crowbar, which I know the joke is overdone and technically it was a bomb, but it's a crowbar. An incorrectly designed crowbar, but it's a crowbar. And then here's another thing I want to talk about. So the cattle prod, cool accessory. I would be careful in putting this in his hand, especially this little tassel. I don't think it comes out or anything. If it did, that would be great. But you have to slide that through his hand, and it's more when you're taking it back out. I would just be very careful. You might break this part off, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's just a nice little detail to the cattle prod. But you got the little prongs painted and everything. This is dope. So the specific hands I was telling you about, let me grab it for you. You see a little peg on there? It's for holding this baby. And I do want to point out, I like that they made sure not to put it right there, like, so it's not weird. I don't know. But little baby will peg onto there, and then you can hold him and have him laser people in half, because that's the kind of man Billy Butcher is. It also comes with, it could be painted better. I don't even know if it's painted, to be honest. But it's a little watch that goes on his left hand, but I'm sure you could put it on his right. And then you got the diabolical smile. These heads also, I want to say, look really good. I'm sure a customizer could make them look slightly better, but the likeness to Carl Urban is great. Really good design. Not that I expected less from MAFEX. I only have one, but I know they're well renowned for being pretty good about making figures look good and everything. But that's everything that's included with them. Let's go ahead and get some scaling on him. So before we get into scaling, I did forget to mention his cape is, or not cape, but his jacket is actually wired. So if you want to, you know, get this under there real quick. Like, it's a nice thick jacket, so I feel like the wire can really only do so much, but it definitely is wired, and like, you can do some stuff with it for sure. Like, you can definitely do some dynamic posing with it too, you know, to add more to your, you know, shots or pictures, videos, whatever you're doing. It definitely does have a wire in it. I think even the collar, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure how you would really use that. Like, I will say that's probably a lack of my own creativity. But even the collar is actually wired too, so I did want to point that out. But yeah, let's go ahead and actually get into scaling. My bad. So I figured the best thing to scale him with would be my live action Marvel Legends, because, you know, for one, they're live action characters and they're also superheroes. So here's with Doctor Strange, and I think that scales pretty good, actually. Here he is with Wong. I'm sorry for, you can probably tell the light's slightly different. The light I use, the batteries are dying, so I'm using my phone's light. Here he is with Deadpool, and just imagine these two interacting. I feel like that would be extremely entertaining. Here he is with Iron Man Mark 80 something. I can't remember, and I just, not that I don't care about this figure, like, he's cool, I just don't care enough to look it up and confirm. Here he is with She-Hulk, and here he is with Man-Thing, but I got one more figure I want to scale him with. Here he is with the Dark Knight Returns Batman. Now, I will say just outright, they don't scale well technically together, because Batman's supposed to be like 6'2", and Billy Butcher, I'll just say Carl Urban is like 6'1", so they don't scale well, but that's really not a problem, because this is a comic version of Batman, and this is a live action character, so I'm not necessarily disappointed at all, to be honest, but I was hoping they'd scale a little better, but it is what it is. So yeah, overall, I will say, I think I got him for around $70 something. I don't regret picking him up at all. He's an awesome figure. I do think for some people, especially for that price, he's going to be disappointing because his articulation is a little bit better. I personally think for it being Billy Butcher, it's literally right where it needs to be. The knees could maybe be a little bit better, but overall, he's pretty awesome. I think some of the joints could have been a little bit better, but I'm pretty sure it's also fixable with like Kiki's. I think it's called, I don't remember, it's called Kiki's though. I know that. Or you can use like a clear nail polish to help tighten up joints and stuff. But dude, just look at him. And I'm not even a good poser. Like, you get some people who are real good at posing. Like, this figure is just gonna go hard as hell. He looks awesome. That's really, he just looks awesome. The articulation is where it needs to be, personally, in my opinion. The only things I think they could be better is he could have come with a better general pair of, like, gun holding hands, because, like I said, unless you're using something with a very similar handle to that, you're not really going to be able to get into his hand, I don't think. Like, I'm genuinely kind of afraid to try. But, I mean, he comes with accessories that you can use. But the sockets jacket with the wire, it comes with the baby, the crowbar, the cattle prod, 2 head sculpts. I mean, I don't regret buying him. I'm sorry, I really don't. I think he's a good figure. Could he be better? Yeah, probably, but I'm happy with him. So, yeah. I hope this was informative for you guys and helps you decide whether or not you want to pick up this figure. I personally would recommend him, but in that same vein, I wouldn't pick him up for more than like $70-something. Like, once you hit that 80 point, it really comes down to what you like and if you're really willing to pay that much for him. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that'll be it. I hope you guys enjoyed.